going to call this Back to Basics Prepping. Jesus Christ and beans and rice. I got that a little bit from Amy, only of Martin Midlife Misadventures. They're wonderful. And I twisted it around a little bit. But I put Jesus Christ first. That's me, but you do you. You do whatever works for you. This is representative of the Bible. My Bible is bigger and... Okay, so you start out, like I said, I'm putting Jesus Christ first. Then you go to the food part, or the beans and rice part. Get you some water. This is basic life. This is what will sustain life. There's the beans. I'm a prepper, so they're already put in their container. There's the rice. Again, I'm a prepper, so they're in their container. You need some spices, whatever kind you like. These are just examples. That's the Himalayan pink rice. That's the peppercorns that I put sealed up. That's the Slap Ya Mama garlic. Whatever you like. And then some canned goods. Your meats of your choice. And then elbow macaroni. With these stepping stones, these are the stepping stones. Some spices, and then you go from there. There's so many people, excuse me, I'm going to move this around, that get almost angry if you talk about you may be forced to eat things you'd rather not eat. Let me say this. See, I come from a large family, a family of 8, and we've had some rough times. Were we as poor as many? No, but we were lower economically than a whole lots. At the best, we were at lower middle class. At the best, we were at slightly lower middle class. So we learned the hard way that what you'd like to have in your pantry and what you got would be two different things. But let me say this. If you were raised like that and you were raised to be grateful for anything you've got, then you're already trained to maybe buy some things that aren't top of your list. But let me also say this. If you can afford to only buy those foods that you like, then please do that. If you've never tasted, I don't even know what to suggest, canned hash browns, and you've got the money to buy really good survival food, then go ahead and get the better things that you know you like. Don't get something then that you don't know that you like. But for us poor folk, the object is to eat food. Get you some food. And so now here's the scripture alert. I read the book of Daniel recently. So many things opened my eyes in the book of Daniel. It's unbelievable. Like I said, this is the Jesus Christ part of the prepping. I won't leave home without him, so to speak. I won't prep without him. But Daniel is very interesting in that there was some horrible things happen in Daniel's day, like Daniel in the lion's den, and they were in slavery. Jesus people, the Jews, the Israelites were in slavery again. But towards the end of the book, in chapter 12, bear with me, it says, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book of life." All right, well, this is not for that day. This is actually for today. We know the world didn't end back then, so that's for these latter days. And then, "And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to the everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But now this was curious to me. Verse number 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the end of the time. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. I'm thinking that means the internet and things like this, but I don't want to try to add words to the Bible. I don't know. Then in verse 5 it says, Then I, Daniel, looked and beheld there stood other two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, How long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and sware by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times, and a half. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. Very interesting. And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed to the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly. And none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Also very curious. Blessed is he that waiteth, and cometh to the 1,330 days. But go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest, and shalt stand in thy lot at the end of the days. That is very curious to me. Now, I recently heard about this. There's so many Christians today that are saying, oh no, all the signs and wonders and all the prophesying and yada yada, all that stuff ended with the Bible. Once those days were gone, it all ended. Well, this is Joel chapter 2, verse 28. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and the terrible day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered, for in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as the Lord hath said, and in thy remnant whom the Lord shall call. I'm going to put my faith and trust in the Lord, but you do you. I'm going to start out and continue reading the Word. I'm loving some of these things that I'm reading. Mysteries, kind of. Well, I'm wondering, what book, what wisdom was he talking about sealing up? That means, to me, my opinion, and what I glean from reading this is, we are in the latter days. Things are starting to be made known to Jesus' people, to believers of the real, true Jesus Christ. There are people that are having dreams now. They're having visions. Some of those things that were in darkness for decades, for millennial is coming to light now, some of which are very ugly things, like in the book of Revelation. But if you're a child of the King, if you're a child of God, you don't have to worry about these things that are coming. They are going to be eye-opening. I meant to look up how many times the word watch was in the Bible, and I forgot to. We are told over and over, watch, be vigilant, be sober, be of good cheer, because our God is our fortress. We don't have to fear God. Now, the ones I feel the saddest for are the ones that believe or have been taught that heaven is right here on earth, is our heaven and our hell. And once we die, that's it. I feel so sorry for them, which makes you kind of understand if today is all they have, no wonder they eat, drink, and be merry. Why not? If tomorrow you may die, then eat, drink, and be merry. If there's no judgment, if there's no accounting for any good deeds or bad deeds, then let's all live it up. I feel very sorry for those people. But anyway, get food in your pantry, get water in your pantry, and most of all, do what the Bible is saying, even if you don't want to become a Christian. But watch. Look at what is happening. I may tack on another video at the end of this that I videoed of a partial clip of something I watched today. And I want to say one other thing to so many of us Christians. We've gotten to the point to where, and not just Christians, people in general, if we don't like the person telling the news or giving the message, guess what? We seem to have a habit of discounting the message. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about. Like, I don't like CNN. I don't like it. I think, well, I'm not even going to say what I think they are. But you know what? In and amongst the spinning and the lies and the deception and the part truths and the misinformation is actual information, is true information. So for me to let my feelings, because I don't like JB or DT, does not make it untruths because I don't like the person that's telling it. The enemy is more and more going to tell you what they're going to do. There's so many of these, the evil, that like to boast ahead of time because they think they're the smartest person in the room. So even if it's a place or a person or a church or a pastor, compare what they say up against the Bible, because there's a lot of false teachings right now. A lot. Don't ever trust me, because sadly, you will not be able to stand before the Lord at the day of judgment and say, I'm sorry, God, that's what Karen told me. That's what Brother David told me. No. You're responsible for yourself. You yourself. You can't use someone else as an excuse. You can't say, Joel Osteen told me this, or David Jeremiah, who I happen to like, told me that. You can't. That's not your excuse on that day. Learn your own discernment. Find out some things, because there's some stuff happening, and there's so many people that are just blindly heading towards what is coming, as if it's going to be a good thing. It will ultimately for us Christians, but for you non-saved, you're not going to like where this is all taking you. Love you guys. Take care. Stock that pantry. Jesus Christ and beans and rice. Take care. Bye. All right, I'm going to share a little bit of this. I think. We will see if it winds up at the end of one of my videos. But this is with Jan Markell, The Silence of the Shepherds, Pastor Billy Crone.
If you are saved, get excited now, because God's not going to tell us exactly when the rapture is going to happen, but he loves us enough. He gives us many signs that it's getting close. And everything you mentioned, Jen, is a Bible prophecy related sign. You even mentioned going on with America being weak, and that's why it's led to this Israel war. I fully agree with you. We also, speaking back to our Klaus Schwab studies, we have exposed Joe Biden's, and I'll use this phrase, hand-picked role into weakening, and not just weakening. The ultimate goal is he was brought in to destroy America.
Billy Crone, let's transition a little bit here because we're carrying your DVD set. We have quite a few, but the one that I'm going to focus on, at least for a few minutes, is titled Klaus Schwab, Eugenics and the Rise of the Nephilim. It's a DVD set, and here's what you have by way of description. You say, what would have happened if Hitler would have won the war? What kind of dystopian nightmare would he and his SS agents have brought to the planet if victory was within their grasp? What other deeds would they have perpetrated upon mankind like they did to the Jewish people? Well, wonder no more, because believe it or not, Hitler's satanic agenda is now actually marching beyond Germany and is actively spreading across the whole planet. Now, that was your description here. And by the way, Pastor Cronin, I don't have the set right in front of me. It's how many teachings total?
11 different topics that we deal with there.
So it's multiple teachings, folks, and we have it in our online store, olivetreeviews.org, olivetreeviews.org. Talk to me a little bit about this. You're referring to the days of Noah. This particular topic is resurrecting the days of Noah again, and you get into the eugenics and the genetics that are a part of this scenario. It's quite fascinating. It's a little troubling, to be sure. You talk about gene editing, and I'm going to mention CRISPR in a few minutes here. But why have you done this particular set?
Because I'm convinced it's a Bible prophecy-related topic. You mentioned the days of Noah. Why should we be concerned about the days of Noah? One, it's in the Bible. You need to read the Bible, all of it, not some of it. But Jesus said in Matthew 24:37, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be, not maybe, not might, at the coming of the Son of Man. So Jesus said, when you see a repeat of the days of Noah, it's a sign. He's not going to tell you exactly when, but it's a sign that his return is getting close. And then when you go back to the scripture and you see, okay, well, what was the days of Noah like to see if we're getting close to the return of Christ? Number one, Jesus said it was a lackadaisical attitude, a scoffing attitude. Peter mentions this too, in the news of the coming judgment of God, eating, drinking, giving in marriage. And Jan, that's exactly what's going on, not just in the world, but even the church. What were we sharing at the beginning of the program? What were the churches doing as the world's on fire? Israel's at war. Hey, what's the score of the game? Eating, drinking, giving in marriage. So we're already there. The Genesis account tells us also that the heart of man was continually wicked all the time. And I think we could agree, boy, that's certainly here. But it's that other aspect where there was a weird thing going on with humanity. I call it the hybridization of mankind, creating something that ended up being non-human that the Bible calls Nephil in the Hebrew, or the Nephilim. So the question is, well, wait a second. As crazy as that sounds, are we seeing the desire to make mankind into non-humans again? Yes. Hitler started it with the eugenics program, but you can't say eugenics that you're going to now bring it to the whole planet, because that's bad press. They're going to say, wait a second, no, you're not. So all Klaus and the gang has done, which by the way, as we've exposed, Klaus grew up in Hitler's Germany, and basically everything that Hitler wanted to do but only made it as far as Germany, including the eugenics program, Klaus has picked up the baton, and now he's bringing it to the whole world. What these guys want to do is they've relabeled it eugenics, and then this is their new term. They call it human 2.0,
Yep.
or augmented humanity. Jan, listen to this. This is their words. They want to bring to the planet a, quote, post-human species. Now stop right there. What do you mean by post-human? That means you're no longer human. And you're going like, this is not like crazy, but why do I need to know this? Because this is the same kind of behavior that went on in the days of Noah, and Jesus said it's going to repeat right before he came back. And that's why we need to get equipped.
And in it, you talk about this gene editing. And folks, I've talked about this with Billy Crone previously because we've carried so many of his products. A couple of years ago, or maybe even more than that, you introduced the whole concept of CRISPR. And I want to bring that out again. Let's play this clip and then come back and talk about this gene editing.
Now to this story, revolutionary technology that can edit genetic mistakes is getting attention and scrutiny this morning. CRISPR could help rid us of diseases like cystic fibrosis, muscular dystrophy, and even HIV and cancer. Think about that.
And what is CRISPR? CRISPR, first of all, it's an acronym. Stands for Clustered Regularly Interspaced short palindromic repeats, a huge mouthful. You can see why we use the acronym CRISPR.
So I'm sorry, what's CRISPR again? Geneticist Jennifer Doudna gets asked that question a lot. A researcher and professor at UC Berkeley, Doudna has become a spokesperson for a gene editing technology she's credited with developing. That mouthful known as CRISPR. I've heard it compared to essentially like a film editor, slicing a bit of film.
I would say that's a great analogy. Yeah.
How does that work then?
Well, think about a film strip, and you see a particular segment of the film that you want to replace. And if you had a film splicer, you would go in and literally cut it out and piece it back together, maybe with a new clip. Imagine being able to do that in the genetic code, the code of life. You could go in and snip out a piece and replace it with something that...
Okay, I'm going to pause this here again, and hopefully I won't get in trouble because I'm giving full credit. This is from the channel of Jan Markell, and this particular one is The Silence of the Shepherds by Billy Crone. I recommend, whether you like the deliverer of the message or not, whether you believe with everything that they preach or teach, is besides the point when it comes down to some of these things that are coming. I will put this link to this hopefully at the bottom of my description, and you can watch this whole thing, because there are things going on that are way beyond what some people are just accepting and understanding.